Just maybe to kick things off, I'll refer to the email, and I think it's a question a lot of people have been asking, and I'm sure a lot of people in the room want to ask about. Skin lottery numbers 442353. What is it?
It's a Nick, I'll tell you. I knew obviously this was going to be the most popular one. The Grunkles, the fans, and people probably from the start of the season. I suppose about our formation and the formations we play. 4-3-3 is one of the most popular formations we've probably played this season. And that system or that formation we've played had brought us success at the start of the season in Europe. It's actually not one up top, it's three up top. And throughout the season, probably when we brought the likes of Rory Harkin and players like that in, we thought that it suited that type of player, accommodated them. We were trying to get our best players on the pitch and at the same time have attacking options. And when you look at it, when we had that formation going and the balance was right in terms of personnel playing, we were averaging 2 goals a game. Obviously we've been unlucky in terms of injuries and things like that sort of mid-season on. We haven't had that same balance in the team, and we've tinkered it slightly now and again. But as I say, I feel, then when we were playing that formation and we were on a good run, we were a match for anyone, and we were winning games, and I don't think there was too much talk about it. But all of a sudden now it seems to be a big problem. At the end of the day, formations, strategies, game plans, all the rest of it, it's 11 to 11 on the pitch. Some managers play 2 up top, some managers play 1 up top, some managers play 3 up top. At the end of the day, it's 11 to 11, it's different game plans. When we were winning leagues, we were playing 4-4-2, but really we weren't. We were playing a 4-2-3-1. Joe Gormley's here, he'll tell you. Ian Boyce was the one that used to drop off as a 10, and Joe played on his shoulder. So I just think personally there's too much caught up on the systems and the formations and things like that. We've been hit hard with different things in terms of personnel, players available. We've had to deal with it, we've had to adjust things, and I think, at the end of the day, it's our best team we try and put on the pitch every Saturday, whether it's a 4-3-3, a 4-2-3-1, a 4-4-2 or 3-5-2 or whatever. That's what it is, and we'll continue to do it.
Does anybody have a question? John?
Sorry, John McCann. Skin, the question a lot of people have been asking is why our leading goal scorer was allowed to leave the club when we had absolutely nobody to replace him.
Yep, okay. Well, first of all, David McDaid had made it quite clear to me and the club that he wanted full-time football. He wanted to play full-time. Obviously, Waterford came in for him, and we had to make a decision. Personally, I had to make a decision as a manager, and the club had to make a decision what's best for the club. And to be fair to the board, there was never any pressure for me to let him go. We tried to talk Davy into staying. Yes, he was under contract till the end of the season. There was 6 months left in his contract. But we weighed it up, John, and we had to look at, will we have Davy McDaid available mentally? If we stand in his way, if he doesn't go, will we have Davy McDaid out on the pitch on a Saturday, ready to go to war, ready to play for Cliftonville, or will he huff? And we decided that, it was probably right to let him go. It was a hard decision, it was a big decision, but it was one of them ones that we had to make. Davy practically begged us if he could go, don't stand in his way, and we didn't. And at the end of the day, we had to act quick and bring in another centre forward because to keep the squad, sort of strong. And as I say, we made that decision. We got money for him, and that was it, John.
Sure.
Dennis?
Question that a lot of people should ask around the ground. You put Kieran McNichol out and on the carry. He was outstanding for them. We brought him back. 4 weeks he's not even on the squad. Why did we bring him?
No, Dennis, okay, I'll try and answer as best I can for you. Any young player, we've put out on loan is for their experience. When we bring players back, we brought 2 players back from their loan spell. At that stage, we brought them back because we were down to our absolute bare bones with injuries and suspensions. We thought it'd be best to bring the young lads back. We got to be careful as well in terms of flogging the young lads. We got to look and see when the right games are when they can fit into the certain games. We also have an under-20s coach that the young lads obviously play with in terms of Daki O'Hara. I try and go to all the games if I'm available. If I don't, then I get a report back from Daki. So, Tiernan McNichol, Gary Donnelly, Aaron Donnelly, Daniel Reynolds, they're all young, talented boys. Do we think they're 100% ready to go into our first team at this moment in time? Maybe, maybe not, I don't know. I probably won't know until we've flown them in, but at the minute, there's players there that's playing in their positions who I think are offering slightly more.
Alright. Skin, do you think the team's strong enough to win the league next year, or do you think we'll need additional players?
Well, personally, Eamon, when we have our full 11, our strongest 11 on the pitch, I think we're a match for anyone in this league, and I truly, truly believe that. We've added, we moved quickly when there was a top player available, and I'll make no bones about it, we've struggled to score goals this year, and I've moaned that many times about the opportunities we've missed during games. And we've moved quick and bringing Joe Gormley back to the club. So added to the players that we have, if fit and available on the pitch, then I think we're a match for any team in this league. No problem, no doubt about it. Yep.
Michael McGarrian, in regards to team recruitment, next season, what areas do you think are fundamental to the progress of the squad?
I think the way we've worked and what we've learned, in the past is our recruitment for me hasn't been great, and I don't mean that to be disrespectful towards any players. I think in the past we haven't, well, especially when we won the league titles, we should have been a lot stronger in terms of bringing in top players. Now we have a policy where a transfer policy where we'll personnel players, we'll look at them, we'll profile them, and if they're the fit for us in terms of how we play, how we go about, what we want to do, we'll sign them if they fit into our budget. We'll try and sign them. We'll fight to try and sign them. When I'm going to sign a player now, there's 4 things I look at, or bring with me. I bring a doctor, a shrink, and many other things. But no, I'm serious. It's something that we now have learned from the past, and the players that we bring in will definitely have to fit into what we're doing. If they're out there, we'll be close to signing them, and as I say, if it can strengthen what we're doing now, then we'll fight to get them into Cliftonville.
Just to go back on to some of the email questions, and you were talking about people being fit. Do you think fitness has improved over the last couple of years in the players? And maybe you could give us a bit of an injury update on some of the players that are out at the moment.
Well, I definitely think we've improved in terms of fitness. Our backroom staff, one of our backroom staff is Ricky McCann. He's probably mostly all know. He's the top sports science in the country. So in terms of our fitness, in terms of our training, it's always planned. It's always, from pre-season. We're now planning pre-season already. We'll monitor the players. We'll monitor training. We'll monitor their games. We worked on a GPS. We'll look and see who's slogging, who's flogging, who's doing the most, who needs obviously rested. And in terms of the injuries, David, we haven't had any serious injuries in terms of pulls, strains, anything like that to do with training. The injuries have been very, very unlucky this year to us. They've been more impact injuries. They've been, unfortunate for Ryan, a leg break. they're things that we can't do anything about. In terms of the other injuries, the niggles, the strains, they're normally down to overtraining or players who aren't fit enough, and putting them into training in the games will generally, get an injury. So our training methods have been good, they've been planned, they've been structured, and I think this is probably the fittest we've been since I've been here in terms of 5 years or so.
What about the likes of Knowles and that? Where are we with them?
James Knowles had to get cartilage scraped out of his knee. We thought at the start, before he got the scan, that it was just a minor thing. It was actually worst case scenario. He ended up, there was 3 bits of cartilage floating about in his knee, and he had to go in for an operation and get it took out. Rory Harkin was an ACL, again, it was a serious enough injury, and it was just down to, bad luck, I suppose. Obviously Ryan Catney's is a leg break, so there are 3 massive players that, has a big impact on how we play. And hopefully we'll get them back come pre-season or sort of just after pre-season.
How beneficial has George McMullen been, club legend that he is, as part of your coaching squad?
George, I helped him, well, when George retired, I actually tried to talk him into not retiring.
I wish Shatner retired, to be fair.
Pardon?
I wish Shatner retired.
Yeah, me too.
I think realistically you need someone in there that's die hard, like that gentleman over there, legend, die hard. He's going to get in and give people a good bargain at half time and sit their down, and you know what I mean. I think the club's missing, and I'm not harking back to Tommy Breslin because that was a great time for the club, but in terms of having somewhere in there to go, you're not pulling your weight, you're not playing well, get in, get stuck in. That's what we need. We could do with somebody like that, and I think that's great to have Jordan McMullen back in that capacity.
I think you've answered your question.
Yeah.
I'll go back to George. George for me is, he's Mr. Cliftonville, like Nicky Donnelly sitting here as well. They've been involved with the club for a long, long time. I have a lot of respect for both. George, as I said to you, it was a player that I tried to keep. I had to respect his decision. He's a family man. Geraldine wanted him to take a back seat and spend a bit of time with family, and I gotta respect that. He's a person that I love having about because he's a winner. He as I say, Mr. Cliftonville. Players respect him, I respect him, supporters respect him, and he's good to have about. I tried to get him in Christmas time there, I revisited, tried to get him in, and his wife was having none of it. So I went back again and tried again, and lucky enough, he's been willing to come in and help. So he's back 2 weeks now, and as I say, his role within the coaching staff is basically what you just said. He's a go-between with the players, and it's something that's very important for a manager to have. I think when I was here as a first-team coach under Tommy, that was one thing that I done. I was a go-between. It was. Yeah, it's an important role, and it's a role that is never really talked about. How important it is. So you're going between the player and the manager. You're finding out their problems. You're seeing who's had a bad week in terms of family problems or work problems or anything like that you're not aware of. So, say George will give us that, and obviously he'll give us a wee bit about the place as well.
Thank you.
No problem.
Dale?
Jared, it's a bit related to what Kevin has said. What little I do to get to see the games, the impression I get is that some of our newer players maybe don't have the bite and desire of some of the teams in the past, and perhaps some of our established players maybe have won everything they can here, and maybe it was time to move them on maybe a year, maybe after we won the league. I don't know what your opinions is on that, or were we not ruthless enough after we won the leagues in moving players on where required? I appreciate loyalty's a great thing, but
In terms of players going out since I've took over personally, I've wrote it down there. I've moved 13 players on. That's the space of a year and a half, a season and a half. You know, when you're moving that amount of players, you know, that's for me, and I've said it before, and it's no excuses. It's as close as you're going to get to rebuilding. There's players here we always assess, we always look at. There's some players, yeah, possibly go a bit stale on you. And it's, as a manager, it's something that you have to address, and you have to address quickly, because if you don't, then you know it's going to have an effect on everything else and everyone else. So it's not about being ruthless. Well, I suppose it is. You got to release them players, but as I say, there's players there that we have let go, and we had to make a bold decision on, especially when I took over, and it was a big decision. You know, players there that we've lost out in terms of Mark Smith, who was a leader. George McMullins, we just says, Barry Johnson. We've lost 100 odd goals this season, and Liam Boyce, Rory Donnelly, Joe Gormley. Go right through, you know, there's been big characters in these last 4 years have left the club, and I don't think personally that there's any club in this league that has been dealt at. You know, you're hoping every year Crusaders are going to lose Heatley to an English club, or Gavin White, or Owens, or somebody like that, and they haven't. You know, we have, and we've had to deal with it. We haven't replaced the goal scoring. The players, I mean, they're three massive players: Rory Donnelly, Joe Gormley, and Liam Boyce. And how do you replace that? You know, how do you? We have tightened up this year so much compared to last year defensively, because we had to, and we've lacked the goal scoring threat that we always had, and we always been known. So, listen, it's, as I said, it's been a little building process. We'll continue to build, and we'll continue to try and get a solid team that's going to represent this club as best it possibly can, and get back to winning league titles and Irish Cups and things like that, you know. So that's my job to do, and I'll continue to work my ass off to do it.
Michael Hagney.
I think people's being awful nice to you, to be honest. I'm surprised nobody's hit you yet, to be honest. Can't say you got that.
You try, Michael.
See, that's what I wanted. Have you made any mistakes like this season? Because clearly we're in a position we don't want to be in. Do you feel you've made any mistakes? And if you have, what have you done and how have you learned from them? Let's say people are being too nice, mate.
Do you make mistakes in work?
I do, plenty.
Does anybody else make mistakes in work? I'm sure they do, they're human. I've made loads of mistakes, and I'll continue to make mistakes. I'm human, I'm learning, and I would say you ask any manager in any league in the world, do they make mistakes? And I'll tell you, yeah, of course. I've made loads of mistakes, but I'll learn from them, and I'll probably continue to make mistakes next year, year after that, and I hope to learn. If I'm not learning from making mistakes, then there's something up. But yeah, I've made mistakes. I'm human.
Can't see who it is, but
Colin Hamilton.
sorry, Colin.
With a number of reported disciplinary problems throughout the last year, is there a code of conduct or anything given to the players to make sure that this isn't repeated?
At the start of the season, again, it was something that we got together as a backroom staff and players, and we put our own code of conduct in place, and we have it in place. In fact, if anyone walks into our changing room, it's on the wall, and we expect the players to follow that code of conduct, and if they don't, then obviously they'll be disciplined. So, of course, that's in place. I have that in place, and it has been from the start of the season.
With a code of conduct, and there's a lot of fines being handed out and stuff, why do we have so many players signed off, do you think, Ger?
That's mine.
Well, the Sentinels, when you look at the Sentinels, I'll go back, what can I remember? Davy McDade's at Dungannon. He's in front of the dugout, probably similar to the one happened here on Saturday. potentially the dugouts got him sent off, the war cry is. Jason McGuinness was foolish in what he done. He was sticking up for his goalkeeper. He led way ahead. It was very soft. He led way ahead. The rules are you lead way ahead. It's classed as a headbutt. A man has experience. He's put his hand up. Again, you know, we've dealt with that in house, and he's killed us in terms of obviously a big player, been out for 6 games. Daniel Hughes, for me, is one of the most bizarre send-offs ever I've seen in this Irish League, down at Carrick. So, you know, I wouldn't discipline him for that. The other ones, I can remember Ramsey, down at Ballinmullard a few weeks back. You know, probably a lack of games, a lack of fitness, a lack of sharpness. You know, he's lunged in, he's tried to take a man down, and he's been cautioned for it twice. So, as I say, that's probably sums up our season in terms of the sending offs and the things that's won against us. And you know, the sending offs aren't for the stupid sending offs, rather than being ill-disciplined, I think. McGovern. You know, again, it's down to opinions. You know, did he deserve to be sent off? Did he intentionally try and hurt the player? Initially, we were told by the referee that he elbowed him, which, you know, looking back, he didn't. He's protected himself. He's been aggressive in what he's done. But you know, there's different opinions there, and as I say, you know, again, we've lost a player with experience, and it's hit his heart.
Harry Cray, supporter for over 60 years. I noticed on the website you say the last 2 matches you're delighted with the attitude and all of the players. What has happened in the previous 20 odd matches? And you've called George McMullen back into the backroom staff. Where does that leave Mal Donaghy?
First of all, leaves Mal Donaghy where he was before. He's assistant manager. George McMullen, as I said, has a role. I've brought him in as part of the backroom staff, which I tried to bring in at the start when I took over. The other 20 games, could you elaborate on what you mean by that? You know,
Yeah.
we went on a beat and run when we had everyone available.
Yeah. But
I
then
got
you
manager of the month.
Yeah.
Rory Harkin got player of the month.
Yeah. But
We're
then
on a great run.
Yeah, let me speak. Then you mentioned Crusaders. Any player that came up, Crusaders were in for them right away. What have we signed?
This season,
Yeah.
well, we've signed Rory Harkin.
Signed any class players.
We've signed Jason McGuinness. We've signed Joe Gormley. Any players that we have tried to sign, Crusaders come in for, Linfields come in for, all we can do is try and persuade them to come to this club. If they don't, then that's their loss, in my opinion. As I say, player profiling, player transfer signing, we'll try and be up there with Crusaders, and we'll try and be up there with Linfield competing to bring the best players to this club. As I say, we've brought the players like Rory Harkin to this club, who I think has been a great signing. He's been very unlucky with injury. We identified that we were going to lose the likes of George McMullen and Janty and Mark Smith's leadership experience, so we brought in a player like Jason McGuinness, who has that in abundance, who's won league titles down south, and for me he's been brilliant in the changing room and certainly on the pitch as well, in my opinion. You know, we'll continue to keep working. I'll continue to work my ass off for this club. I love this club. I'm like you guys sitting here. If I wasn't a manager of this club now, I'd probably be sitting amongst you asking questions. I take great pride, by the way, in trying to lead this club and trying to bring this club back to where it belongs. You know, every time I drive up to the gates to train on Tuesday, I have a sense of pride. And as I say, I just want you guys to put faith in us and support us. It's been a difficult season, I've no doubt about that. I'm not going to lie about it. It's been a difficult season for me personally as a manager. I've learned an awful lot. I'll continue to learn. I'll continue to make mistakes. But I want to get this club back to where it belongs. We need your support. We need you to fight for us. We need you to be vocal on the terraces. You know, personally I think in the last lot of months, there's been a lot of negativity. You know, I was disappointed, and I'll bring it up, and obviously David has said about not talking about individuals, but on Saturday, as a manager standing on the other side, the sarcasm from some of our fans when Jason Mooney caught the ball was a disgrace, an absolute disgrace. I didn't hear too many cheering in the last 10 seconds when he came over a whole load of bodies to catch the ball. And then for me, I was like celebrating a goal. We're trying to work on players throughout the week, especially players like Jason Mooney, who suffered confidence. There's players there that we look at, and you know, what we go through during the week, you don't see that as supporters. You know, there's players carrying injuries, there's players have problems, there's players not fitting into what we want to do, and we try and get the best 11 available, and we'll continue to do that. As I say, we want to get back to where we belong. I think, as I say, we've been very active in terms of bringing a goal scorer. We've also identified we'll strengthen again defensively, and we've brought in Gary Breen on a pre-contract. And I have more targets that I'm looking at that I think it's going to make it stronger for next year and add to what we have. And like I said, if we have all our players available, I truly believe that we'll be challenging, we'll be fighting, and we'll be up there come next season with a wee bit of luck.
Just go back to one of the questions from on emails, and sort of maybe I'll tie it in with George McMullen back. Has George started doing any training with them about taking penalties?
Oh my God, penalties is... I've lost so much sleep over it. It's unbelievable. Again, it's summed the season up. You know, I think it's 7 penalties out of 9 we've missed this season. If anybody goes to our training, we practice penalties. The week that Daniel Hughes missed one was practicing penalties all week because he was going to be on them. And no word of a lie, Joe Gormley's sitting there. He hit 10 out of 10, top corner, no problem. You can practice penalties all you want in training, but when it comes to it, it's down to a lot of things, down to nerve, pressure, you know, a missed kick, the pitch, it's just one of them things. And obviously we have suffered, and we've missed penalties this year at crucial times, real crucial times, and it's killed us. You know, the Crusaders game, to bring it back to one each year, destroyed us. Davy McDaid down at Dungannon to make it 2-1 the last minute. Jay Donnelly to get us back into the game at Windsor the other week at 1 each. So it's been hard to take. But listen, as I say, we can't feel sorry for ourselves, and we'll continue to go. And at the end of the day, the players will step up their mark and show a bit of balls and try and score.
Okay, anybody else?
I have another one.
Go ahead.
Colin again. Half time we used to have someone out making sure the substitutes were going through some sort of routine. In the last year that it sort of hasn't happened, and they're left their own devices, and some of the times they stand and do nothing for 5 minutes. Can that be addressed?
Yes, it can be. I mean, no, obviously I don't. But you know, at the end of the day, these players aren't kids. You know, they're professional. They should know that they have to go out and obviously keep warm and prepare right, because it could go on at any stage. So obviously not sure if it happens all the time. I know our sports science coach Ricky wouldn't allow it or shouldn't allow it. So yeah, it's something that I'll look at and make sure that it doesn't happen, because that's not, as I say, we're trying to do things right at Cliftonville, and that sense of professionalism, you know, that comes into it as well. And if they're kicking balls or messing about, then obviously they're not tuned in or not prepared for the game.
Michael, you want to come back on that one?
Sorry, just your Skin mentioned the fans. It's clearly something that irks you a wee bit, certainly about Saturday it irked you. The fact that we sarcastically clapped Jason Mooney. Do you think that you've got a fair crack from the fans since you've came in? And clearly, Skin, you're here for a reason tonight. It's not, you know, everything isn't going swimmingly. there's a bit of a lull about the place, and you feel that you want to address these issues. I mean, from your point of view, how do you feel you've got it from us?
Honestly, Michael, I think personally from the start since I've took over, I haven't had it. I'm not speaking on behalf of all the fans here, but there's a certain amount of fans seem to have a real negativity about anything I do, and that's been from the start. I mean, I'm a young manager. I've been a big part of the success here as well under Tommy Breslin. You know, as first team coach. For me, it was a dream to get the job. I wasn't handed the job right away. I was doing a 10-game interview basically, and and for me proved that I was the right man. I went on an unbeaten run. I'm a young manager. I'm a big Cliftonville fan. Anything I do it an extra mile because I want the best for this club. I don't think some fans see that. I mean, my first season here, I've won a League Cup. I've got us into Europe. Okay, it was through playoff. And again, you know, that hurt me as well, the playoff final. I should have been ecstatic about obviously getting us into Europe, but for me, fans had jumped on and basically said, how dare we celebrate winning a playoff final? You know, and it was hurting because we've got us into Europe. We finished fourth that season. The season before that, we finished fifth. I think last season we had 64 points. The season before that, with 61 points. So there's been a small progression. I obviously would like us to win the league every year and the Irish Cup every year, but you know, we work on that. You know, it's progressing every year, and I can see that. We're sitting on 59 points or so this year, so we're considering what we've been through, by the way, as well. It's not bad. Could be better, and it will get better. So when you see and read and hear the different things, you know, the tweets or the you know, people that send you, it is hurting. I'll not lie about it. It is hurting. I'm thick-skinned. At the start, it did annoy me, and I lost some sleep over it, because at the end of the day, I want what's best for this club and its supporters. But now I gotta just let it go over my head sometimes, because some of the things is brutal. You know, it really is. And you know, I got some sent to me during the week there, obviously leading up to this. Don't know the guys here. Is Kev 1969 here?
If he was, he wouldn't put his hand up.
No? John sent you, is it? This guys?
Don't do social media.
Well, if he is here, he wants to maybe hold off on his tweets to after games, because I mean, this week's tweet was at 6 minutes past 2. The team was announced, and he was able to say that we were playing one up front, and absolutely hammered the goalkeeper. Told the chairman that he needs to go set up balls and sack me. And then at 20 past 2, get your lad on Ballymena 4-5. So how'd that work out, Kev? And then the week before it was about Aaron Hare playing up front, who scored and had to go off it obviously at half time, a concuss, who I thought we missed. So I think you should keep the tweets day after the game instead of before the game. But yes, it does hurt, and yes, I think some of the fans have been very unfair in terms of what I've done and what I'm trying to do and what I continue to do. I think I need to get behind. Listen, I'll take it for the players 100% if it meant there was positivity going on that pitch every week. I think, you know, the fans have a big part to play here, a massive part. I think in weeks, you know, in some of the games here, we've tried to make Solitude a fortress again. I think we have. Our record this season, we have the best home defensive record. We've lost 2 games at home, and so therefore we're getting there. Our away record hasn't been as good, obviously. We'll work on that and we'll look at that. But we want to make here a real fortress, and with your help and support, you know, that makes it. You know, there's nothing better than Cliftonville fans hounding the opposition and singing and dancing and getting behind the team. There's nothing more, you know, pleasing for the players. And with your help, you know, that can be sorted.
Sorry, just before you go,
I was just wondering on the back of that, if people are being quick to judge, when should they judge you as a manager overall after 3 seasons, 2 seasons? When should it be?
Yeah, next Saturday. Listen, a manager's always judged on what he brings, what he wins. You know, what silverware he brings. Probably when he leaves the club, what he's left behind. In terms of players, structures, place, whatever. So, again, I don't mind being criticised, I really don't. And obviously, you know, I want to win everything. I want this club to be the best in the country. I still believe we are close to it. But when I took this job, I was asked what type of manager do you want to be, or are you going to be? And the first thing I said, I'd love to be a lucky manager. Because if you have a wee bit of luck, then you know you're on to good. I believe in my own strengths. I believe in my ability. I believe, without blowing my own trumpet, that I can coach. I can see things. I know the game. Yes, I'll keep learning. And as I say, I believe I have an eye for a player too, and I know what type of team I want to be putting out on Saturday to represent this club. And as I say, we'll get there. I have no doubt in my mind that we'll become the best again. I have no doubt about that, with your backing and our hard work.
yeah, oh,
Good morning, Morgan. You're saying there, if we make Europe, just unfortunately if we don't make Europe, I'm taking a guess that our wage bill have to be slashed. So how does that affect your targets, and also is there certain players will have to go then?
Well, the budget obviously defines everything. It's, you know, your budget dictates your season ahead. Obviously, getting into Europe plays a huge part on bringing top players to the club and keeping our best players and offering them new contracts. We didn't qualify the season before, and we struggled a little bit with it. This year we did, and you know, I hope, please God, that we qualify this season. I think the game on Saturday will give us a huge lift.
But have you a plan B in case we don't? Because the prize money's just growing every day.
Yeah.
So the likes of Crusaders are just going to strengthen even more.
Yeah, no, we always have a plan B, Marty. And as I say, we have about 11 players out of contract at the minute. And again, you know, them 11 players will dictate, obviously, where we are at the end of this season. And obviously who we want to bring in. We've already jumped on and brought 2 players in already, so we haven't stood still. We identified, obviously, we needed a goal scorer and potentially another centre half, and we've done that. So, as I say, I think, you know, the board's been very good in terms of any players that I've wanted and asked for. They've backed me, and they'll continue to back me.
Skin, just in regards to the way you're saying, if you want to be a lucky manager, I totally agree with that there, where you're coming from. Like I'm saying, in regards to this season being a difficult season, how big a part do you think the officials had to play in that there? Do you think you have to rub of the green maybe more times than enough in regards to maybe some other clubs? I know it's a bit of a controversial remark, like, but...
No, I totally, yeah. Funny, we were talking about it on Saturday. I'd love to compile a list or videos of all of the decisions this season that's won against us. You know, and I know our goalkeepers come in for a lot of stick with dropping balls, but I truly believe that the 3 or 4 times that he was fouled.
I took a guy to the Carrick game, Skin, back in December. He hadn't been to a Cliftonville match or an Irish League match in his life, and he couldn't believe what he was watching. The officiating. You know what I mean?
Listen, it's a lot to be desired at the minute, but you know, I have to be careful if this has been videoed. You know, try and stay in the good books, the officials. But no, I say I had a conversation with the officials on Saturday before the game, and it was something that I asked them. Get into the game. You know, do they talk about the size of our goalkeeper? And you know, do they have in their head that because he's 6'7", you can't touch him? And at the end of the day, he says, no, foul's a foul. And I says, well, tell Andrew Daly that, because he hasn't given us them fouls every time he's refereed. So, in terms of that, yeah, we've been very unlucky with a lot of decisions, I think, throughout the season.
Alright, if there's any more there, because just okay, can we make that the last one, because I know Skin has another important job he wants to do this evening, and that's to get up to Ballymena for the second half of the Olympic game. So, you want to fire away?
Yeah. Alright, Jared, first of all, I'd like to say I don't think anybody, even before this meeting, could doubt your commitment and the amount of work you put into the club and your passion for Cliftonville. So if some people are giving you that impression, that's the majority of the support. Well, I can only speak for myself, it's certainly not my opinion. But you described there your role as coach as being one of the sort of the link between the players and the manager. How have you found having to remove yourself like a manager at work? And I know you have to be removed to a certain extent from yourself. How have you found changing your role from being a sort of a bit of a buddy with the players in the role you're describing to now being the big bad boss, to put it that way?
That's a good question. Good question. At the start, when I first took over last season, it was daunting slightly, especially with the senior players who were there. You know, because I always class myself as having that go-between, that good relationship with players, and I still do. Now, they're obviously distant. They distance themselves from me. They don't tell me as much. They tell me what they want to tell me. And to be honest with you, I don't want to hear half the stuff that they get up to. So it was hard at the start, but now I'm very comfortable with it. You know, I'm there, I make the decisions. Some hard decisions, but the decisions I make is the decisions that's going to be best for the club and the team, and obviously the decisions, you know, represents how we doing on Saturday.
Okay, well, just one final email before we let Skin rush to Ballymena, and it came from Italy, and I just wanted to put it on record. Hi, this is Alessandro from Italy. My wife is Irish, born in Belfast, and believe it or not, I support Cliftonville. Anytime I'm in Ireland, I try to come to Solitude to see the Reds. I don't have any questions for the manager, Jared, but please tell him that even in Italy, there's somebody supporting Cliftonville. So there you go. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Thank you all for coming along this evening. This won't be the last. We're going to keep Skin coming along to a few more of these over the next season. So thank you very much for coming along, and hope to see us all up at the Coleraine game. And just for the record, the Olympic game at the minute is still 0-0. So off you go.